I have to find like something similar to that and keep a kind of a feeling going behind it.
Bruce Lee wasn't just a movie star. He was a force. Fast hands. Sharp mind. A new way of fighting the world had never seen before. He changed martial arts forever. But behind every legend, there is a teacher. And for Bruce Lee, that teacher was Ip Man. Many fans know Bruce. Fewer know Ip Man. And almost no one talks about why their paths suddenly split. Why did Ip Man stop teaching his most famous student? Was it jealousy, tradition, or something much darker? The truth has been whispered for years, and it's not the story most people expect. Bruce Lee's rise was explosive, but it came with tension, rules, and hard choices. Join us as we explore Bruce Lee's life, who Ip Man truly was, and why everything changed between them. A birth surrounded by chaos and history. Bruce Lee's story did not start in a dojo or on a movie set. It started during a time of fear, travel, and global change. His birth name was Lee Jun Fan. His father, Lee Hoi Chuen, was a well-known Cantonese opera singer in Hong Kong. His mother, Grace Ho, was born in Shanghai. In late 1939, Bruce's parents traveled to the United States for an international opera tour. They were performing in San Francisco's Chinatown when something unexpected happened. Bruce was born there on November 27, 1940. This meant he was born on American soil, which later allowed him to claim U.S. citizenship. When Bruce was only 4 months old, the family returned to Hong Kong in April 1941. Not long after, life became much harder. In December 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on Hong Kong during World War II. The city was ruled for 4 years, and the Lee family lived through shortages, fear, and uncertainty. Even Bruce's family background carried mystery. The ethnicity of his mother, Grace Ho, has long been debated. Some believed her father was German, others said Dutch Jewish, and some questioned the story entirely. What mattered most was how Bruce saw himself. He grew up aware that identity could be complicated, and that feeling would follow him for years. As a child, Bruce was surrounded by performance, struggle, and survival. And that early mix quietly set the stage for the restless energy he would later show to the world. Growing up fast, films, fights, and finding direction. Because his father was famous in opera, Bruce entered the film world very young. His first role came when he was still a baby, carried onto the screen in the film Golden Gate Girl. He was given the stage name Lee Siu Lung, which means Little Dragon. He was born in the year of the dragon, and even the hour of the dragon. To many, that felt like destiny. At age 7, Bruce began practicing Tai Chi with his father. Acting stayed in his life too. At 9, he starred alongside his father in The Kid, his first leading role. By the time he turned 18, Bruce had appeared in around 20 films. School, however, was another story. He attended Tak Sun School, then later La Salle College. His grades were poor, and his behavior caused trouble. In 1956, he was transferred to St. Francis Xavier's College. There, a teacher named Brother Edward Muss played an important role. Muss was a boxing coach and mentor. He helped guide Bruce and gave him structure. Around this time, Bruce's home life was also difficult. His father struggled with opium addiction. Bruce spent more time in the streets. Fighting became common. In 1953, Bruce was introduced to Wing Chun Kung Fu by his friend William Chung. Chung brought him to Ip Man. At first, Bruce was not accepted. Because of his mixed ancestry, many believed he should not be taught traditional Chinese martial arts. Chung spoke for him, and Ip Man allowed Bruce to train. Ip Man tried to keep his students away from street fights and pushed them toward controlled competition. But rumors about Bruce's background spread. Many students refused to train with him. One of Bruce's training partners later said that very few people were ever personally taught by Ip Man, and Bruce was one of them. Bruce trained privately with Ip Man and a small circle of others. In 1958, Bruce won the Hong Kong School's boxing tournament, knocking out the champion in the final. That same year, he also won the Hong Kong Cha-Cha Dance Championship. He was fast, sharp, and restless, but the streets were pulling him back in. Trouble in Hong Kong. As Bruce entered his late teens, the fighting got worse. His street clashes became more serious. One incident involved the son of a feared triad family. In another fight, after being hit unfairly, Bruce struck back so hard that the other boy lost a tooth. The police were called. Bruce's mother had to sign papers taking responsibility for him. A detective warned the family directly, "If he gets into just one more fight, I might have to put him in jail." That line stayed with them. Bruce's mother made a difficult suggestion. She believed Bruce should return to the United States and claim his citizenship at age 18. His father agreed. Bruce's future in Hong Kong looked dangerous, and his chances for college were slim. In April 1959, Bruce left Hong Kong and went to San Francisco, where his sister Agnes was living with family friends. After a few months, he moved to Seattle. There, he finished high school while working as a live-in waiter at a restaurant owned by Ruby Chow. Bruce was not living an easy life. He worked hard, stayed poor, and kept training. His brother Peter joined him briefly before leaving for college. In Seattle, Bruce began teaching martial arts. He called it Jun Fan Gung Fu, meaning Bruce Lee's Kung Fu. It was his personal approach to Wing Chun. He taught friends, starting with Jesse Glover. His group was diverse, with students from different backgrounds. This was rare at the time. During this period, Bruce developed the one-inch punch and became deeply interested in boxing. He studied fighters like Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Robinson. His mind was opening. His style was changing. He opened his first martial arts school, the Lee Jun Fan Gung Fu Institute. Bruce finished high school and later enrolled at the University of Washington. Official records show his major was drama, not philosophy, though philosophy would become a lifelong interest. He studied psychology and philosophy while working as a dishwasher. Bruce was building something new, and the distance from Hong Kong was about to make one old relationship much more complicated. A student becomes his own man. By the early 1960s, Bruce Lee was no longer just a student. He was teaching, thinking, and questioning everything. His time in Seattle changed him. He was no longer bound by the same rules that shaped martial arts schools in Hong Kong. Back there, tradition mattered more than anything. Bloodlines mattered. Background mattered. Bruce had already faced rejection because of who he was. Now, in America, he taught anyone willing to learn. His first assistant instructor, Taki Kimura, stayed loyal to him even after his death. Bruce balanced school, work, and training every day. He lived simply, often struggling with money. Yet his mind was sharp and restless. Drama classes helped him understand movement and expression. Psychology helped him understand people. Philosophy helped him question limits. These ideas blended into his fighting style. Bruce was no longer just practicing Wing Chun. He was reshaping it. His past with Ip Man was still important, but it belonged to another chapter. The rules that once restricted him no longer applied. The same tensions that followed him in Hong Kong had never fully disappeared. They simply changed form. Bruce's journey from a war-torn childhood to street fights, to private lessons with Ip Man, and finally to independence in America, was not smooth. Every step pushed him further from tradition and closer to his own path. And that shift would soon raise difficult questions about loyalty, culture, and why one of the most famous teacher-student relationships in martial arts history quietly came to an end. Oakland and the moment Bruce stepped into the spotlight. In early 1964, Bruce Lee made a bold move. He dropped out of university and left Seattle. He moved to Oakland to live with James Yim Lee, a respected Chinese martial artist who was about 20 years older than him. Together, they opened Bruce's second Chun Fan martial arts studio. This was a big step. It showed Bruce was fully committed to martial arts, not school, not safety, and not tradition. Around this time, James Lee introduced Bruce to Ed Parker, a well-known American martial artist. That connection changed everything. Parker invited Bruce to appear at the 1964 Long Beach International Karate Championships. This was not a small event. It was packed with fighters, teachers, and critics. Bruce took the stage and shocked everyone. He performed two-finger push-ups using only his thumb and index finger. Then came the moment people still talk about today. Bruce demonstrated the one-inch punch. He stood close to a volunteer, Bob Baker. His fist was just 1 inch from Baker's chest. Without pulling his arm back, Bruce struck. The force sent Baker flying backward into a chair and then onto the floor. Later, Baker said, "I told Bruce not to do this type of demonstration again. When he punched me that last time, I had to stay home from work because the pain in my chest was unbearable." That single moment made Bruce impossible to ignore. At the same event, Bruce met Taekwondo master Jungu Rhee. They became friends and trained together. Rhee taught Bruce the side kick. Bruce taught Rhee his fast, non-telegraphic punch. But Bruce did more than show skill. He spoke openly. He criticized traditional karate and kung fu styles. He argued that martial arts needed to change and become modern. Some people were impressed. Others were angry. Soon after, Bruce explained his ideas again at the Sun Sing Theater in Oakland's Chinatown. Many traditional practitioners took this as a challenge. Bruce was no longer just teaching. He was questioning the entire system. And that tension was about to explode. The fight that changed everything. In 1964, Bruce Lee became involved in one of the most talked-about fights of his life. It was a private match with Wong Jackman, a skilled martial artist trained in Xingyiquan, Northern Shaolin, and Tai Chi. The reason for the fight is still debated. According to Bruce, the Chinese community pressured him to stop teaching non-Chinese students. When he refused, he was challenged. The deal, according to Bruce's side, was simple. If Bruce lost, he would shut down his school. If he won, he could teach anyone he wanted. Wong denied this version. He said he challenged Bruce because Bruce claimed he could defeat anyone in San Francisco. Witnesses gave mixed accounts. Wong and William Chen said the fight lasted 20 to 25 minutes. Wong claimed Bruce attacked aggressively and tried to end the fight quickly. He said he avoided using deadly force because it could send him to prison. According to one account, the fight ended because Bruce was exhausted, not because of a final strike. Bruce, Linda Lee Cadwell, and James Yim Lee told a different story. They said the fight lasted about 3 minutes. Linda later recalled, "The fight ensued. It was a no-holds-barred fight. It took 3 minutes. Bruce got this guy down to the ground and said, 'Do you give up?' And the man said he gave up." A few weeks later, Bruce gave an interview claiming he had defeated an unnamed challenger. Wong believed this was clearly about him. Wong later published his own version of the fight in a Chinese-language newspaper and invited Bruce to a public rematch. Bruce did not respond. Despite the conflicting stories, one thing was clear. Bruce was unhappy. Even if he believed he won, the fight bothered him deeply. He felt it took too long. He felt limited. He believed his Wing Chun training had held him back. That moment forced Bruce to rethink everything. He began to question tradition, structure, and rules. He wanted something faster, something real, something that worked without limits. At the same time, Bruce had put acting aside. Martial arts came first, but fate had other plans waiting just around the corner. American fame and the birth of a new way. Bruce Lee's life shifted again after a martial arts exhibition in Long Beach in 1964. Television producer William Dozier noticed him and invited Bruce to audition for a new show called Number One Son. The show never happened, but Dozier saw potential in Bruce. That moment opened a door. In 1966, Bruce was cast as Kato in the TV series The Green Hornet, alongside Van Williams. The show ran for one season, but it changed Bruce's life. It introduced him to American audiences and made him the first Asian martial artist many viewers had ever seen on TV. The director wanted Bruce to fight using simple punches, the American way. Bruce refused. He insisted on using his own style. At first, he moved so fast that the cameras could not capture his movements. He had to slow down for filming. The martial arts community embraced him. During the show, Bruce became friends with stuntman Gene LaBelle. They trained together and shared knowledge. When the show ended in 1967, Bruce wrote to Dozier and thanked him for starting his career in show business. After the show was canceled, Bruce found himself without acting work. He opened another Junfan Gung Fu Institute, this time in Los Angeles. The fight with Wong Jackman still weighed on him. Bruce decided traditional styles were too rigid. He believed real fighting was chaotic and unpredictable. He began building something new. He focused on speed, efficiency, flexibility, and practicality. He added weight training, running, stretching, fencing, and boxing ideas into his practice. In 1967, this thinking became Jeet Kune Do, meaning the way of the intercepting fist. Bruce described it as having no way as way and no limitation as limitation. He believed even Jeet Kune Do should not become a fixed style. It was meant to stay free. During this period, Bruce worked with students like Sterling Silliphant and James Coburn. They even worked on a film script called The Silent Flute. Though the project was delayed, it showed Bruce was still tied to film. In 1969 and 1970, Bruce appeared in small acting roles and worked as a fight choreographer. Step by step, Bruce was reshaping both martial arts and his future. And every choice he made pushed him further from the old rules that once defined him. Hollywood doors that would not fully open. By 1971, Bruce Lee was still pushing for a real breakthrough in American television. That year, he appeared in 4 episodes of the TV series Longstreet, written by his friend Sterling Silliphant. Bruce played Lee Tsung, the martial arts instructor to the blind lead character, Mike Longstreet. This role mattered. Bruce was not just acting. His real martial arts ideas and philosophy were written into the script. Viewers finally saw his thinking, not just his punches. Around the same time, Bruce pitched his own TV show. He called it The Warrior. Both Paramount and Warner Brothers listened. Bruce later said they wanted him in something modern, not a Western. Bruce disagreed. He believed the Western still mattered and said so publicly. Warner Brothers later produced a show called Kung Fu. Bruce was not credited. The studio claimed the idea already existed. Others said Bruce was not cast because of his accent. Some said it was because of his ethnicity. Bruce himself took a calm view. On the Pierre Berton show, he said, "They think that business-wise it is a risk. I don't blame them." The lead role went to David Carradine, who was not a martial artist. Fred Weintraub, a producer who believed in Bruce, gave him clear advice. Go back to Hong Kong, make a movie, show Hollywood what you can really do. Bruce followed that advice. He left the US frustrated with small roles. When he arrived in Hong Kong, he was shocked. The Green Hornet had been a hit there. People called it the Kato Show. Bruce was already famous. After talks with major studios, he signed with Golden Harvest. For the first time, the spotlight was finally his. And this time, it moved fast. Hong Kong stardom and total creative control. Bruce Lee's first Hong Kong leading role was The Big Boss in 1971. The film exploded across Asia. Audiences had never seen anything like him. His speed, his power, his presence. Overnight, Bruce became a star. He followed it with Fist of Fury in 1972. That film broke box office records set by The Big Boss. Critics said Bruce was riding a wave of international fame. With success came confidence. Bruce renegotiated his contract. He then formed his own company, Concord Production Incorporated, with Raymond Chow. His third film, The Way of the Dragon, was different. Bruce did everything. He wrote it. He directed it. He starred in it. He choreographed the fights. This was complete control. One moment stood out. Years earlier, Bruce had met karate champion Chuck Norris at a Long Beach event. Now, he brought Norris to the screen as his opponent. Their fight scene became legendary. Many later called it one of the best fight scenes in martial arts film history. The numbers were huge. Fist of Fury and The Way of the Dragon earned massive amounts worldwide. Bruce was no longer chasing Hollywood. Hollywood was watching him. In late 1972, Bruce began work on Game of Death. He filmed key scenes, including his fight with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But production stopped. Warner Brothers offered him something bigger, a joint project with Concord, Golden Harvest, and Warner Brothers. The film was Enter the Dragon. Filming began in February 1973 and wrapped in April. During this time, another company wrongly promoted Bruce as the lead of Fist of Unicorn, even though he only helped with fight scenes. Bruce planned legal action, but chose to protect his friendship instead. Then, just 6 days before Enter the Dragon was released, Bruce Lee died. The world had no idea what was about to happen next. Enter the Dragon was released in July 1973 and became a global phenomenon. It was one of the year's highest-grossing films. Made on a small budget, it earned hundreds of millions worldwide. Bruce Lee was now a legend. His face, his voice, his philosophy, everything spread fast. Around the same time, the TV show Kung Fu reached #1. Martial arts fever took over. Songs, comics, and pop culture followed. Bruce did not live to see it. After his death, director Robert Clouse and Golden Harvest returned to Game of Death. Bruce had filmed over 100 minutes of footage. The story was changed. A look-alike was used. Old footage was mixed in. Only about 15 minutes showed the real Bruce. The film was released in 1978 and caused controversy. Years later, unused footage was recovered and shown in a documentary, revealing what Bruce truly intended. Plans Bruce once had continued to resurface. Even after Bruce was gone, his ideas kept showing up in new films and shows. But behind all that fame is one name most people still overlook: the teacher who helped shape Bruce before the world ever knew him. IP Man. The man everyone knows, and the one almost forgotten. Almost everyone has heard the name Bruce Lee. He was the face of Kung Fu films in the 1970s: Fast Fists, loud shouts, famous movies like Fist of Fury. Even the rough English dubbing became part of his charm. Bruce Lee became a global symbol of strength and rebellion. But very few people stopped to ask a simple question. Who taught Bruce Lee how to fight? Long before Bruce became a movie star, there was another man. His name was Ip Man. He lived in the first half of the 20th century in Foshan, a village in Guangdong province in southern China. People there knew him as Master Ip. Outside that region, almost no one knew his name. Yet among martial artists, Ip Man was respected at the highest level. He was not loud. He did not chase fame. He did not travel the world showing off. He trained quietly. He studied deeply. And he mastered Kung Fu in a way few ever could. While Bruce Lee would later shock the world with speed and power, Ip Man represented control, balance, and calm. Their paths would cross in a way that changed martial arts history forever. But before that happened, Ip Man's own life had already been shaped by war, loss, and discipline. Wing Chun and the idea of mind over matter. Ip Man was born in 1893. Over time, he became one of the leading masters of Wing Chun Kung Fu. This style came from southern China and looked very different from flashy or wide movements. Wing Chun favored a stance slightly off to the side. The goal was not to crash into an opponent head-on, but to avoid force and redirect it. Movements were tight, fast, and controlled. Watching Wing Chun can feel strange at first. The fighter looks calm, almost relaxed. Sometimes it feels like gravity does not apply. Many people later compared it to the way Neo moves in the Matrix films. That connection is not a coincidence. The same martial artist who helped choreograph The Matrix, Yuan Wu-ping, also worked on films about Ip Man decades later. In one interview near the end of his life in 1972, Ip Man explained Wing Chun in a simple way. He said it was like using a hammer to hit a nail perfectly on the head. No wasted motion, no extra strength, just precision. That idea captured the heart of Wing Chun. It was not about brute force. It was about the mind guiding the body. Calm over chaos. Control over anger. This way of thinking gave the art a quiet, almost spiritual feel. Ip Man lived this philosophy daily. He did not seek conflict. Even his early career reflected order and duty. Before and after the Second Sino-Japanese War, Ip worked as a policeman in Foshan. When Japan invaded China in 1937, life changed. During the war, Ip Man stayed with a former student and resisted as best he could. After the war ended, China fell into civil war. YP fought on the side of the nationalists. When the communists took control in 1949, Ip fled to Hong Kong. There, his life would change again, and soon, a troubled teenager would walk into his world. Bruce Lee enters the school and tests the system. After arriving in Hong Kong, Ip Man began teaching again. Many students wanted to learn Wing Chun from him. Among them was a young boy named Lee Junfan. He would later be known as Bruce Lee. Bruce was born in San Francisco and raised in Hong Kong. As a teenager, he got into street fights and gang trouble. He lost some fights to rival groups and wanted to become stronger. One of his friends trained under Ip Man and introduced Bruce to the school. Bruce was only 15 when he joined. From the start, he stood out. He learned fast. Too fast. He quickly surpassed students who had trained longer than him. This caused tension. Some students disliked him. Others resented his skill. His mixed background also caused problems. Bruce was half Eurasian, and many believed Chinese martial arts should not be taught to outsiders. But Ip Man did not expel him. Instead, he adjusted. To keep peace, Ip continued Bruce's training privately. He assigned senior students like William Cheung and Wang Shun Leung to help train him. Later, when tensions cooled, Bruce returned to regular classes. Bruce trained under Ip Man for about 3 years. The training was not easy. At times, it felt frustrating. Bruce once complained to his father that Ip Man made him practice only one stance for days. No flashy moves, no strikes, just standing. Bruce did not understand why, but Ip Man was shaping his foundation. Bruce later realized that this slow, controlled training sharpened every movement he made. Ip Man saw Bruce's talent early and chose a unique path for him. Bruce later trained in many styles, but Wing Chun formed his base. In his own words, Bruce once said, "After 4 years of hard training in the art of Kung Fu, I began to understand the principle of gentleness." He admitted it sounded simple, but in real combat, it was hard to keep calm. That struggle between theory and instinct would stay with him forever. Eventually, at age 18, Bruce left Hong Kong for America. Teacher and student were separated by distance, but the bond remained. Respect, loss, and a legacy that returned. Ip Man and Bruce Lee never stopped respecting each other. Even as Bruce became famous, he spoke highly of his teacher. Ip Man watched his student rise from afar. Fate would take both men close together in time. Ip Man died on December 2, 1972, in Hong Kong from laryngeal cancer. He was buried at Wo Hop Shek. Only 7 months later, Bruce Lee also passed away. Many found this deeply symbolic. The master and the student gone almost together. For years after their deaths, Ip Man's name faded, while Bruce Lee's fame exploded worldwide. But time has a way of correcting history. Decades later, Ip Man's story returned to the spotlight through a trilogy of Hong Kong films and the 2013 film The Grandmaster. These movies showed a quieter side of martial arts: discipline, patience, control. They reminded the world that before Bruce Lee shocked audiences with speed and power, he learned from a man who believed in stillness and precision. Ip Man never chased fame. Yet through his student, his influence reached the world. Do you think Bruce Lee could have become the legend he was without Ip Man's calm and disciplined teaching? Who do you believe deserves more credit in martial arts history? The student who became famous, or the master who shaped him? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible stories from Hollywood's fascinating history. See you next time.